Furthermore, the flashes of light aren't the only thing suggesting that steel wires were used in the scenes from the moon. There are also several instances in which the astronauts seem to be rising from the ground with no effort whatsoever, as if some invisible force were pulling them up. Let's analyze some of these situations. This astronaut is leaning on the ground, and then he suddenly gets up with no apparent effort. It's as if a mysterious force were suddenly pulling him up from the ground. Here, the astronaut is suddenly pulled upwards and then remains dangling while rotating on himself. Let's watch it again. Here, the astronaut is first pulled up and then seems to remain floating in midair. It looks like a puppet hanging from some invisible strings. Here, the fallen astronaut gets up from the ground as if a mysterious force were pulling him up through his backpack. Let's watch it again from up close. Here, the astronaut is working with some tools when suddenly a mysterious force yanks him upwards and to his right. Let's watch it again. There is even a situation where the astronaut complains that he cannot get up, and he almost seems to wait for someone or something to pull him up.
But I can't get up.
The astronaut waits until a mysterious force helps him up.
There we go.
In this case, the astronaut falls forward, but somehow remains suspended in midair. In fact, if we look more closely, we notice that he first remains floating in midair, then a mysterious force pulls him upwards. Here we have a case of apparent levitation. The astronaut on the left takes a leap forward and then remains floating in midair, his legs dangling, while a strange force pulls him upwards. Let's watch it again in slow motion. And finally, here's a very curious situation. Look at the movement the astronaut manages to make with both his legs, first forward and then backwards, without leaning onto anything. It's as if his feet were free to slide first forward and then backwards on the ground underneath. If we straighten the frame in order to place the astronaut vertically, we will see that he is not just lifting himself on his toes. The entire lower part of the leg from the knee down is sliding forwards, then backwards. But how is it possible to slide with both feet at the same time, first forward and then backwards, without an external force pulling you upwards in the meantime?